Well, good afternoon, folks. I'm Rosemary. It's good to be here in this audience. There's an audience, yes, and I'm not pretending. They're here, WYEP members. But there's also a couple of handsome young men sitting on the stage here, about ready to perform for you. We're really thrilled to have My Politic in, and they're going to be performing tonight at Club Cafe, which is a kickoff for a big tour. So we're going to have them jump right into a tune, please.
All right. Well, I'm so happy to be here. We're going to kick off things a little controversially, I suppose. Or maybe not. We're on WYEP. This is a song on this new record that we put out last year. And I guess you'll kind of figure out what's going on. It's called Will We Ever Make It Out of Heaven Alive?
Will we ever make it out of heaven alive? Manifest destiny sounds a lot like genocide. Living in the land of salesmen and pride, where illusions and delusions of the past are just $1, and the truth will cost so much that you kick and scream and holler. Stronger folks than you and me have tried. Will we ever make it out of heaven alive? Everything and everyone's for sale here all the time, and you ain't worth a nickel if you can't steal somebody's dime. Where Jesus Christ protects us all, but you have to stand in line while the wealthy choose who is and ain't allowed to board the ride. And the misdeeds of our past keep washing up here with the tide. Stronger folks than you and me have tried. Will we ever make it out of heaven alive? Will we ever make it out of heaven alive? There's more guns out here than people, it's a wonder we've survived. Living in the land where all these bullets fly, where you can get shot at the movies, at the grocery, at the mall. But we love our guns so much that not a thing changes at all. Stronger folks than you and me have tried. Will we ever make it out of heaven alive? Fund the bombs that drop on folks in some parts of this world, but to relieve the people's suffering, well, we never can afford it. Well, we just can't seem to stand keeping our hands out of these wars. It's just killing, killing, killing. If you ask, hey, what's all this for? They'll paint you like you don't love your country anymore. Stronger folks than you and me have tried. Will we ever make it out of heaven alive? Will we ever make it out of heaven alive? What's the point of carrying on when all your dreams have died? I'm sick and I'm tired, let's call it quits. At least we can say we tried to find a way out of this fantasy, this web of lies. And it feels so bad when it's all you've had and you finally open up your eyes. Stronger folks than you and me have tried. Will we ever make it out of heaven alive? Will we ever make it out of heaven alive?
An auspicious start.
An auspicious start indeed.
We are here with My Politic, which is Kaston Guffey and Nick Pankey. Club Cafe tonight, just the beginning of a tour. So
Well,
when you...
actually, We're kind of in the middle of it.
You're in the middle of it already?
We did a big chunk at the end of March. We did 10 shows, and then now
Okay.
we're about to do 4, and then 4, and then 4, and then 4. We got a bunch of like.
So
you
we're
know.
getting you seasoned tonight.
That's correct.
Okay, we
Just
like
like
that.
a cast iron skillet.
So when you name your band My Politic,
Uh-huh.
there is going to be an assumption about that. So tell me about the title.
Well, Nick and I started playing music together when we were in high school. We were like 15, and we were in kind of different little bands and stuff around Ozark, Missouri. We grew up in the Ozarks, and when we kind of started branching off and getting into acoustic stuff and writing and doing all that stuff, we didn't know what to name ourselves, and I didn't really want to be our names because I didn't know what I was saying or what I was doing because I was a kid. I was like a teenager, you know? I wanted to hide behind something. And I was listening to like a lot of Bob Dylan, and we were like getting into all that stuff, and it just kind of popped up, and it was like, oh, we'll just name it this weird little thing. And then as we got older and put out more and more records, I started writing like more politically and stuff. So it kind of all weirdly came together in a strange way.
Well, you know, if you're 15 and you're listening to a lot of Bob Dylan and you choose My Politic as your name, it kind of points towards where you might be headed as an individual.
Yeah, I think that's probably true.
So knowing each other from the time that you're 15, that has to help at this point, you know, in your career. You have to, like, some things you just sort of know about each other. That has to be a part of your songwriting where it's like, I know if I do this, Nick is going to do this, or if Nick brings you something, he has probably a pretty good idea of where you're going to go with it. Is that correct?
I think so. Yeah, I think having, I think the playing together, like when we go when we play shows together, and when we're working out songs and stuff, I think there's just this little thing that happens. We kind of both get like inside of the song and just start piecing it together very organically. Like we don't really communicate that much. We just kind of are, you know, playing the song like through over and over and over again, and like little things just start to fall into place. And I think that's probably gotten a lot easier over time, you know, just doing it over and over and over like that. It's like now we can, you know, we can do that process kind of easier or something, you know.
Okay, so you grew up in the Ozarks.
Yes.
So from, you know, somebody from Pittsburgh, I either I don't know it or maybe I have a stereotype of the Ozarks.
No way.
So you tell me what it is that you love about having where you grew up and what the challenges were.
For me, I think it's a really beautiful place. I think the landscape and the woods, it's kind of weirdly a little bit similar to here. I think it's a little bit more dramatic here with the Appalachia, you know. The Ozark mountain range is a little bit smaller. But you still got like the valleys and the woods, and it's just very pretty. As far as challenges go, I left promptly at age 18 or 19 or something like that, and some of the things that you might have in your mind about the Ozarks are true in some way. You know, grew up around a lot of people with issues with addiction and poverty and like different things like that, but and a lot of, and then politically it was very and culturally it was very conservative and super Christian, like evangelical Christian. And I'm not any of those things. And I never have been, and so it was like I always kind of felt like an outsider there, weirdly, you know.
But you have moved to Pittsburgh. You want to talk about that move? Because I think that plays into some of the music, some of the songs that I'm hearing on this record. But that's always a big move.
Yeah.
When you're moving from Missouri to all the way to Pittsburgh, there's got to be a reason that move came.
Well, you know, what's funny is between Missouri and Pittsburgh, Nick and I lived in Boston, Massachusetts for 3 years for no reason. We did not go to college. And then we moved to Nashville. I was in Nashville for 9 years, and Nick still lives in Nashville, and so in 2022 I moved here with my wife Georgia. Shout out to Georgia, Georgia English. She's wonderful, and we moved here totally kind of on a whim. We didn't really have anywhere to go. We'd kind of gotten priced out of Nashville, and then didn't really want to live there anymore for lots of reasons, and so I didn't want to move back to Ozark, Missouri. And Georgia's from San Francisco. She grew up in the city of San Francisco, and it's kind of unattainable place to live as well. So we started looking at different places, and Pittsburgh kept coming up, and we visited here and like fell in love with it and moved here, in 2022, and we live in Millvale, and my wife started a nonprofit called UBU Inc., and we teach music education for kids and adults and everybody, and it's wonderful.
Well, welcome to Pittsburgh.
Thank you.
And if you've just tuned in, we are talking to My Politic, and tonight at Club Cafe, they will be performing. Can we get a couple more tunes, please?
Yeah. We're gonna shift gears here. Do a couple of songs that are on this new record that are in a little bit of a different vein. This is a song I wrote, kind of trying to think about like the values that I have and trying to live by them, and how hard that is in a society like this, especially when you're not interested in selling people a bunch of things, or trying to do the super capitalist thing. And so I'm this song is kind of about staying curious and interested in the actual world around us. It's called No Other Way.
Well, I hardly write sad songs in minor keys. Well, sure, I feel sad, but I'm happy to be. 'Cause sad folks like you and like me can see a whole other layer beneath. Well, time's in no hurry, time ain't no thief. It gives itself away like a dog in heat, like two romantic poets on a dimly lit street. It flows on and on like a river, and this breaks my heart and fills it more than a few times a day. Now my heart's in thousands of pieces, but for sad folks like us, there ain't no other way. I spent my life searching for peace of mind. Well, the more you go looking, the more pieces you find. And some people's peace looks like some people's bind. But I ache for the solving of mystery, drunk on the details and the history. And this breaks my heart and fills it more than a few times a day. Now my heart's in thousands of pieces, but for seekers like us, there ain't no other way. what's true, what's honest, what's really real. Questions that keep us turning the wheel. Somewhere between what we know and the way that we feel, we can see for what seems like forever. But it's rare when it all comes together. And this breaks my heart and fails it more than a few times a day. Now my heart's in thousands of pieces, but for the curious kind, there ain't no other way.
Thank you so much. Yeah, this record is. I got really into like trying to understand like physics and stuff, and quantum mechanics, and over the last 5 or something years, and I have no idea what's going on. But I've been trying to, you know, some of those ideas are very interesting, and for my songwriting, it's kind of crept in there a little bit, and I really like that, you know. It's kind of fun to think about those big questions. We're gonna do one here. It's called "Drifting Around the Ocean." Did the dream die? I could feel the shift in time. Did the dream die? Or is it only hiding? And if it's really gone, who the hell? I sold all the tools I ever owned. I used them to build a world that was mine. I was offered no jewels for the work I've known, just the trace of memory in the back of my mind. So it goes, so it goes, drifting round the ocean. So it goes, so it
there's a calm breeze blowing. The sun is dancing on the water. I can see where I've been, but not where I am going. And I slowly start to hear those melodies again. Thank you very much.
We are here with My Politic. My guess is you're probably winning yourself some new fans here.
We're losing some. We don't know.
I hope so. That'd be cool.
So you do have a new album out, Sign of Life. You were just talking right before you started that song, and I was just thinking about how, I guess music, if you have the ability to make music, can be a source of trying to figure out what it is that you're thinking.
Oh my gosh. I mean, writing songs I've been doing it since I was 12, and I think somehow it's kind of twisted myself all around, and like it is a part of how I figure things out about what I'm thinking, because a lot of times it feels very complicated to, especially in this world that we live in, and everything's very complicated, and the writing, sometimes you can get into this flow state of like not really knowing what you're saying, and then afterwards you can kind of read it, or if I sing something enough, like it'll hit me what I was trying to get at, you know what I mean? Which is a weird thing. It's kind of like keeping a secret from yourself or something. You know what I mean? It's very weird. So yeah, I totally agree. I think for me at least, it's been a very helpful tool to explore complexity and different things,
Do you feel that this new album, Sign of Life, is this an album that is different in some ways than other things that you have released? It feels like there's a lot of intensity on the record.
Yeah, I think it's probably the most mature piece of work that we've put out, which makes some sense since it's the newest thing that we've done. I mean, what do you think, Nick? I think it's true.
It numbers among the most recent things we've done.
That's why I keep him around. Very astute. Yeah.
Nothing
What an
gets
observation. Yeah, I think it got a lot of ideas in it that I think I've always been trying to explore, but like I moved, when I moved here, I started writing this record, and my whole life was different. Like, instead of being in the car, a minimum of an hour a day, I was like walking everywhere, and I'm on my bike all the time. And so like time literally things got longer in a good way. Like I could spend more time like thinking about these things, and I just think that I kind of got I got more clarity out of this record than other ones maybe. Do you know does that make sense?
Yeah, sure it does.
Yeah.
And the one thing that you had too is you've had the challenge of not being together. So you have to. You have a long distance relationship at this point, and I mean, if you've moved, from Ozark to Boston together and Nashville, this is a big change. Has that had an impact? How did you handle that long distance?
I think it had an impact. I mean, I think what was interesting about it was when I moved here, it was the end of 2022, and then 2023 and 2024, writing this record. we were passing ideas and stuff back and forth with this like app called BandLab, but then we were touring a lot. Like we toured a lot in 2024. Like holy cow.
Nice save.
Yeah, nailed it. And so I mean, I have distinct memories of like getting together. We've been playing the Woody Guthrie Folk Festival the last few years, and I remember specifically there. It's in July, and it's like 100 degrees, and we were holed up in this Days Inn hotel room, and we were like really working on the stuff. And so it was like all day. I felt like every day that we were there, we were just like, and that was kind of neat. We had not really done that before because we'd always had time to like, let things sort of come together, and this was more like, let's just take that and like crunch it down into like a few days at a time. And it was kind of fun. It was interesting, It did turn out, I think.
Yeah.
So we have elongated time and we have condensed time in this record.
Exactly. Yeah.
So being that the two of you have known each other as long as you have, probably maybe even better than your wife, he may know you better. He probably knows things about you that she doesn't.
Yeah.
You could tell stories on each other, and here you are in front of an open microphone.
I know. No, we better not.
Kaston's colorblind and did not know the color of the roof of the home he grew up in.
That's true. I didn't.
So that's a fun little fact.
I'm
that I
colorblind,
always
so
think
I
is
don't know
fun.
anything about colors.
But he will give you suggestions about colors. He said, that kind of looks yellow. And I go, what are you doing, man?
Yeah, there's,
That's about as
there are
scandalous
things.
as it gets.
I mean, we really don't. Yeah, like we're pretty boring as far as like we don't have any. I mean, I didn't murder more than one person. Like,
not per state.
Yeah, not per state.
You're young.
We have time. We do have time.
Yeah. So but as far as like, yeah, we know each other pretty good, and we have a lot of. I do think we share an appreciation for certain things. Like we're both really, really, really obsessed with like certain British comedy, like characters and things. So like when we're on the road, we listen to stuff like over and over and over, and there's all these. It's just all this really granular, like detailed jokes and funny things that like. If we tried to talk about it with any other person, I feel like they would be like glaze over and just be like, I don't know what you're saying, And I have proof of that because I have tried to talk with other people about it, and I've seen this happen. So yeah, so that kind of stuff's fun.
Well, My Politic is here. Club Cafe is the place tonight. The new album, Signs of Life. So can we get another tune, please?
Yeah, I think we'll play the title track. Why not? Thank you for all of this. This is so lovely. We're gonna do the title track of this record. WYEP has been super, super cool about playing this song a bunch of times, and I get texts from people like weekly. I'll get a text and it'll be like, "Just heard you on WYEP," I'm like, "Wow, that's so cool." So this is this song. It's called "Signs of Life."
My neighbor's digging a hole in his front yard, sucker's 15 foot deep. And when I can't sleep, I think about the things that he finds. Bottles of trinkets and little pieces that shine. Some days I wish his life was mine. I think I'll go for a walk, or maybe I'll go fishing, we'll see. Try and find someone to talk to about all this joy and all this misery. Shooting beer cans we emptied, skipping rocks and sipping wine. But I think I've got one on the line. Maybe I'm doing alright. It's so hard to tell what's true sometimes. Maybe I'm doing alright out here searching for signs of life. out to the Museum of Art and eat just enough mushrooms to have my mind blown apart and follow the crooked streets all the way home. Talk to strangers and bury my phone. Well, maybe I'm doing alright. It's so hard to tell what's true sometimes. Maybe I'm doing alright. Out here searching for signs of life. And if I get tired of looking, I hope I don't stay tired too long. Everybody needs a fire to cook in if they're gonna stay hungry as the day's long. Well, maybe I'm doing alright. It's so hard to tell what's true sometimes. Maybe I'm doing alright. Out here searching for signs of life. Well, maybe I'm doing alright. It's so hard to tell what's true sometimes. Maybe I'm doing alright. Out here searching for signs of life. I'm out here searching for signs of life. I'm out here searching for signs of life.
Thanks. Thank you.
That is My Politic here on 91.3 WYEP. Thank you so much for stopping by Club Cafe tonight.
Thank you. Yes, please come to that show. It's going to be fun. Doors are at 7, and the show starts at 8. And our friends Mirabelle Skipworth and Mark Dignam are going to do a couple of short sets to kick it off, and they're wonderful Pittsburgh people.
Well, thank you very much. We're going to send it back to Kyle.